kill yourself now.
Frieren is a hard show to wrap my head around, not because it's hard to understand, but because even though it's one of my favorite anime watching experiences in recent memory, I remember it being mostly unremarkable. With closer inspection, it makes a bit more sense. Frieren has several key strengths that makes it a smooth and comfy experience, like its brisk yet measured pacing, grounded characters, good dialogue, a very well kept suspension of disbelief, and a 28 episode runtime, which definitely brought the story another level of familiarity to the audience that could only be built up through consistent small doses across months. However, being this comfy and grounded comes at the risk of all of the show kind of blending into the background. What Frieren ironically isn't is adventurous. Across its two cores, it runs through a bunch of tropes, character archetypes, and story beats that aren't badly executed at all, but aren't very original or interesting. It came to a point in my Frieren watching where I liked what I was watching on screen, but felt like I wasn't processing any of it at all. In other words, Frieren felt like comfy junk food. It's only after the show got close to wrapping up that I got a chance to step back and see what the point of all of this comfy business is. I don't think I have or will ever have a thesis that summarizes this entire story, but I've come up with an interpretation that I think is interesting. And please, if you think I'm talking bullshit, share your own interpretations of Frieren. One of the most rewarding parts of the last video for me was seeing people's different perspectives on the same story. It makes me happy to think that I can spark a discussion between like-minded people. Before that though, let me just bitch for a bit. Okay, first of all, what the fuck is up with the demon shit? Why, in the story about recognizing how people are good, more on that later, did you decide to introduce a race that is fundamentally incapable of human emotion and pretty much universally manipulative, twisted, and cruel? If this is supposed to be some kind of commentary that reminds us how community and compassion is important, and without it we can turn truly empty, and maybe we shouldn't atomize ourselves until the techno-capital singularity, it doesn't work because they're not humans, they're fucking demons, literally biologically programmed to be sociopathic killers. The fuck they're supposed to do about it? If this is somehow a reflection of the real world, I would have serious qualms with how the author views society. And if it's not that, then I ask again, what the fuck is up with the demon shit? What am I supposed to take out of this? What Frieren's unbridled hatred for them because they killed her entire village, or whatever? I'd say there are better ways to add edge to this relatively unexciting show besides having Frieren tell a demon to kill herself. I get it, it's a funny joke, haha, low tier elf, but it so doesn't fit the rest of the show. Speaking of the rest of the show, god, the tournament arc. Why does Sosen of fucking Frieren need a tournament arc? I was slightly optimistic about it until these two annoying pieces of shit started babbling about their generic childhood friends that appears to hate each other but actually love each other dynamic. Until most of these characters revealed their incredibly boring personalities, until this fight is won because this guy started yapping about his backstory, until I realized that most of this tournament is just about how cool and strong and knowledgeable and awesome Frieren is, to the point that obviously the only remotely challenging thing in this entire arc is a replica of herself, as if what made Frieren interesting was her overpoweredness instead of the tears she shed at Himmel's funeral, or her attempts to understand and care for other people, or that potion she held that lets you disintegrate clothes. And lastly, I hate this character. She's not cool, she's not cute, her personality reeks of fake quirkiness, and her design is mid. Y'all level 0 Gooners need to get some better material. Okay, I got that out of my system. If you're still watching, just know I want to give you a fatherly peck on the forehead. Even with my complaints, I think at its best moments, Frieren taps into some very compelling themes in a rather unique way. 4 episodes in, I suggested that Frieren is a story about the human experience contrasted with the vastness of time, a grand theme, which in hindsight still seems a bit too narrow for the show. Frieren is a story about the human experience, period. And I guess different philosophies debate this constantly, but to me, the core of human experience that gives our limited time in this world meaning is the bonds we forge with other people and the experiences we have with them. Frieren for sure recognizes the irreplaceable value of human relationships and how that fundamentally drives people forward. Fern is driven by her love and gratitude for Heiter, Stark is driven by his promise to Aizen, Zion is driven by his best friend, and Frieren, of course, is inspired by the memories of Himmel, which the show loves to remind you of many times. Most of the side characters have some version of this as well, but what makes Frieren so great is how it takes a step beyond that and recognizes the tragic fragility of memory, best shown through one of my personal favorite stories, episode 16's Old Man Fall. After a while, even the most vivid memories turn into vague, mushy details, and one day, we might even forget why we're moving forward in the first place. Even Frieren, at the beginning of the show, used to her extrapolated timeline, didn't realize the frailty of her memories until it was too late. But Sosen of Frieren tells us that no matter how scattered or apparently forgotten, that memory always lives somewhere inside of us, and through new experiences in life, we can encounter a certain image, a phrase, or a person that intimately links us back to that memory, making us treasure both what's in front of us and what has led us to this point even more. This is why, even through Frieren's most unremarkable moments, links are always made back to Himmel's party. Frieren wants to show that human relationships and memories are an always ongoing process, best viewed as a combination and reconciliation of our past and present. When you see that, it's much easier to understand why much of the show seems pretty mundane, because Frieren's ultimate point is that these ordinary events are what being human feels like, and even if we can't see it now, they're worth it. Connection is worth it. Memories are worth it, and you'll be much happier to have remembered than not. I guess what Frieren tried to tell us is that, touch grass.